Assalamu alaikum to everyone. It is a matter of great pride and gratitude for me to stand here today. My name is Ms. Aisha Tahir and I am currently pursuing my PhD in English Studies. I completed my MPhil from University of Seattle, where my research explored the inspirational genre through multimodal discourse analysis. My academic interest include qualitative research, discourse analysis, and language acquisition. Alongside my doctoral journey, I am also serving as a faculty member at Aspire College, Seattle. For me, research is not merely a requirement for a degree. It is a mindset. It is about questioning assumptions, exploring meanings, understanding context, and contributing knowledge to society. Today's session, From Learner to Researcher, reflects this very journey, the transformation from receiving knowledge to producing knowledge. As your host, I hope this session become a platform of shared learning through thoughtful discussions and academic inspiration. I look forward to engaging new people all and exploring together how we can truly become qualitative researcher. So, allow me to introduce our respected panelists. I am also honored to introduce Ms. Afia Niaz, who currently served as an faculty member at Apex College. Ms. Afia is a devoted researcher with 3 publications in English Studies. She is highly committed to her studies and consistently demonstrates dedication and scholarly curiosity. Her contribution to research and her academic devotions make her a valuable member of today's panel. Please join me in a warmly welcome Ms. Afia Niaz. Our second panelists are dedicated academic with strong expertise in research design and it is my pleasure to introduce someone whose dedication to research and mentoring has made a significant impact in our academic community. Mr. Ali Furqan, who is currently my fellow and he was also a teacher. Mr. Ali Furqan has established himself as a dedicated researcher and mentor in the field of English Studies, having authored over 30 research publications in well-reputed national and international journals. Beyond his scholarly achievements, Mr. Ali Furqan is known for his generosity, guidance, and willingness to help others. Currently, he serves at the University of Seattle, where he has contributed immensely to both research and academic mentoring. Mr. Ali Furqan embodies the perfect balance of scholarship and mentorship, someone who not only produces high-quality research but also uplifts the academic community around him. So, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in warm welcoming Mr. Ali Furqan. Before we begin our interactive research exploration session, it is my utmost honor and privilege to introduce a person whose guidance, scholarship, and mentorship have inspired countless students and faculty alike. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me immense pleasure to introduce Dr. Sabur Hussain, our esteemed professor, supervisor, mentor, a true living legend in the field of research and English studies. Worthy Dr. Sabur Hussain is a full professor whose academic journey spans decades of dedication, innovation, and excellence. He has authored over 100 plus research publications in highly reputed methodology in linguistics and English studies. His expertise is not just local. He has internationally lending his scholarship and guidance in Saudi Arabia and South Korea, sharing his insight students and faculty across the globe. This globe exposure has enriched his approach, allowing him to mentor with a perspective that is both deeply academic and profoundly human. What sets Dr. Subbu Hussain apart is not only his academic brilliance but also his unmatched mentorship and generosity. He has guided his students, fellow researchers, and faculty members with patience, wisdom, and encouragement, empowering them to reach their full potential. His approach through thoughtful, inclusive, and inspiring, making everyone feel valued and supported. Beyond his professional achievement, worthy Dr. Subbu Hussain is a living example of humility, dedication. He is admired and respected not only for his knowledge but also for his character as well. His contributions have shaped the careers of many students and academics, leaving a legacy that will continue to influence generations. Today, we are truly honored to have him with us to provide his expert guidance during our session. His insight, experience, and wisdom will enrich our understanding of qualitative research and help us approach it with rigor, clarity, and confidence. So, ladies and gentlemen, please giving our warm welcome to our mentor, our guide, and our living legend, worthy Dr. Subbu Hussain. So, let's start. To build a strong foundation, we must first understand about the qualitative research. So, let us begin with the most foundation question: what is qualitative research? Before we become researcher, we must understand what kind of research we are entering. Qualitative research is an approach that focusing on exploring meanings, experiences, perspectives, and social context. So, Ms. Safia, how would you define qualitative research in a way that helps beginners to understand its core purpose?
Okay. First of all, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And according to me, basically qualitative research is a situated activity that locates the observer in the world. It is an approach which is used to explore and understand the meaning individuals or groups ascribe to a social or human problem. Unlike quantitative research, which only focuses on the numbers, statistics, measurements, but this approach basically focuses on the experience, observations, and meanings, and it focuses on it mainly focuses on the experiences, perceptions, context, and interpretation. And if we talk about that in English studies, this approach is particularly powerful because it allows us to explore not just text but the human experience surrounding them. For example, we can investigate classroom discourse to understand power dynamics between teachers and students, explore how immigrants construct their identity through narrative writing, analyze how readers make meaning from a literary text, or uncover the social linguistic realities of a specific speech community. And according to me, this is about the qualitative research.
So yes, thank you, Ms. Afia. So, Mr. Ali Furqan, how is qualitative research different from quantitative research?
Thank you, Ms. Aisha, for the introduction, and thank you, sir. We are no doubt a part of academic community, and we are serving, and we should serve to the community. And this is a great. I hope this will be a great interaction related to qualitative study with you people, and you will find certain things you haven't explored yet. So, if I try to dissect this phenomenon, that is qualitative research, it is obviously different from quantitative research. In quantitative research, the focus is on numerics, measurable data, offices, and we most of the time try to explore how much, how many, what. The focus is on what kinds of identification. Sometimes we highlight, sometimes we focus on the numbers, on the scores, and if there are even not scores in the study, sometimes we operationalize certain definitions like motivation, like behavior. So we try to convert certain behaviors into scores, and then we do quantitative studies. And if I try to dissect the phenomena that is qualitative one, it is purely focused on words, interpretations, explanations, and the questions we embed in this kind of study. Those are how and why. Mostly we focus on how and why, and it even if we talk about the quantitative research, the focus is on the data, and in qualitative studies sometimes the researcher himself or herself becomes instrument.
Exactly.
So this is quite interesting there. We explore certain types of data in quantitative studies, but in qualitative studies, the instrument, the person, the individual, him or herself is the instrument. So this is about the difference between quantitative and qualitative.
So can we ask questions regarding?
Yes.
Okay, so as you said, so that qualitative research is basically targeted about how the analysis is conducted is more in terms of a rigorous research is there. So as far as quantification is concerned, quantitative analysis is concerned, the focus is on numerical data, qualitative. So do you think that if we are talking about qualitative analysis, it's more subjective approaches, then how can we maintain objectivity as far as qualitative research is concerned? Because as you said, so that we can be utilize ourselves as the tool. So if we are the tool, so how can we minus ourselves when we are qualifying the data, when we are doing the verbal analysis? So can there be validity or authenticity as far as data analysis is concerned? Because we are there, because we are analyzing the data. In quantitative, the data is in numerical form, quantification, or we can use different software, NVO or maybe tabulation analysis, and help us in terms of making percentiles that this, we are not saying data is saying that this person, but in verbal analysis as far as qualitative research is concerned, we are there. So how can we negate ourselves being researcher from qualitative research?
We cannot negate ourselves in qualitative and quantitative research.
So that is a question of
obviously there is an objectivity in quantitative research and subjectivity in qualitative research. And when there is subjectivity in qualitative research, how we can say that we are not biased, we are not prejudiced. So in qualitative research, there are biases and prejudices.
So for qualitative research is biased research according to you, because we are there, and how can we lessen down this biasness, and how can we make it more objective?
Qualitative research cannot be an objective research. This is the core difference between quantitative research and qualitative research.
Okay, fine.
Objectivity and
Sorry for asking so many questions.
No problem at all. We may ask many questions, and after that we will have an expert.
Because I'm thinking that research is qualitative related, so I'm more concerned about the questions which can be asked about the authenticity and validity of the research. As you said, so that both are dealing with data. Quantitative deals with data, qualitative deals with data. Quantitative deals data in numerical form, and qualitative deals data in verbal form. But obviously we have to rely on data. So whatever is said by a qualitative researcher, even though whatever he or she is saying, they are saying on the basis of data and data analysis. because we are analyzing data through already established methods, and we are keeping objectivity at the point because we are negating ourselves. We are not there. We are there as a researcher. We are dealing with data. We are playing with data, and we are making you can say recommendation or analysis or finding the places of the data. So we can say if methodology is equipped, skilled, and we are skilled to utilize theoretical framework and putting theoretical framework into proper conceptual framework, and then we are analyzing the data within a particular perspective of analytical framework. There is more authenticity, there is more validity, because if in quantitative analysis we are negating context, and in language or language analysis how can we negate context? Because language is context bound, there is no meaning of meaning unless it is in our context. So context is important, and qualitative is giving focus to context.
Okay, shall we have question answer session?
Okay, sir.
Interactive exploration.
But you know, there in this case it was not interactive, it was one-sided. And question was not asked, rather answer was given, and very forceful one. To kill that debate, resolve that issue, you are subjective in
Yes.
qualitative research, but objectively subjective.
Objective is objective.
Learn how to be objectively subjective. Now that is, quite philosophical, and you need to understand that by doing it. When you come up with sweeping statement, and when you yourself said, well, when you are not systematic, structured, when the theoretical framework is not clear, doesn't emerge from the literature, are the gaps. Conceptual framework is not well crafted, analytical framework is not clear, and then you say that I did it because I wanted to do it, then it is objection. So subjectivity is to hide subjectivity is an art which qualitative researchers must master, and once they master that, they are successful qualitative researchers.
So how we can master that art?
One, a sense of structure, system, organized, threads running right from the beginning till the end in a very distinct way. And then they have mentioned here credibility, transferability, dependability, confirmability. When anybody reads that, they become more knowledgeable. And when they achieve the target that, well, you have dealt with qualitative study and your target was depth, not width, and you have achieved that target, and your readers, they have gone into the depth now with you, and they are more knowledgeable. It means that together you have achieved the target, and even if you are subjective, their subjective understanding, don't use the word I, or don't make a broad claim where you raise the objection that, well, how do you know it? The moment there is a question, how do you know it, you are in trouble. That is sweeping statement. Avoid that, then your subjectivity can be covered in a particular way.
So, sir, can this be a better way to use the data, says this, and follow this in terms of data analysis, the research mechanics?
Sir, I want to add something.
Please, sir.
This research that is qualitative in nature, this is purely based on ontological assumption that reality is not fixed. There are multiple realities. How can we generalize a reality that is not fixed at all?
Reality is cultural as
Fine. So you have already said that this kind of research is based on context. When there would be a variation in context, there must be a subjectivity. Obviously, the meaning would be changed. The reality would be changed. So this is the reason subjectivity, but sir has slightly intervened that subjectivity, but with objectivity. So there are systems in qualitative research. We cannot even say that research if there are not systems. If this is not a science, then we cannot say at all this is a research. So qualitative research is research, then the data, obviously we dissect and explore data in qualitative research. There is validity, content validity. We take expert opinion from the doctors to validate the data, to validate the content. So all such kind of things are there in qualitative research. But when we say that nature of the study, obviously there is a difference. Objectivity and subjectivity.
Okay, for example, quantitative observer comes here and goes back, and 10 people would go back and give the same report.
Yes.
There are 4 fans, 2 ACs, 1 camera, 4 panelists, these many audience, these many chairs, and the whole universal acceptable generalizable data, it will be reported. But 101 qualitative researchers, they may enter and go back and report in different ways.
Yes.
There will be 101 versions of reality. So that is why, we say that subjectivity is there. We must accept that it is by default subjectivity that time, but in a proper.
And even we have also discussed a few examples relevant to this one. For example, there is a fact 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. But this is not the real life. We sometimes explain it and we are biased in a way. When we say that 2 plus 2 will be 2 and 1 plus 1 not 2 but 11 in some cases. So this is our own interpretation. This is subjectivity.
Qualitative people deal with the people.
Yes.
And people are very different.
Yes. True. Because there is no fixture of meaning as well. Meaning is not constant.
Yes.
So is the case with qualitative research, but as the validity of the research is concerned and generalization of the research is concerned, obviously you generalize qualitative analysis as well in terms of findings. That generally we can, for example, we can have an example of research. For example, we are talking about Pakistani system is a patriarchal system. So this can be a qualitative notion as well.
But this cannot be generalized at all. This is your perspective.
Your plan is to understand this context in depth and unveil the hidden realities which are there, or hidden, or maybe sequences or whatever. But quantitative ones, they are target is generalizability and replicability, right? And when the same qualitative, researcher, even if he borrows all the instruments, but the moment he tries to apply it in different contexts, it will be altogether different research, right?
Like sir, as we study, we learn about the linguistic theories given by different researchers. Someone focused on description, someone focused on prescription. It means everyone, the research by everyone has some validity, has valid points, but they thought what they looked at that point in the time. They observed, but they focused in their observation that they wrote them as the theories. So everyone was right to some extent, and later those ideas were challenged and reorganized by the others. It means that no one was perfect. Every theory has some limitations and more gap for others to come and fill that gap.
So do you think that a qualitative researcher has to be more keen observer as compared to the quantitative researcher, because the qualitative researcher has to work on different perspectives as well as context is concerned and data is concerned. So
Researcher is keen observer and sharp thinker, critical thinker, whether quantitative or qualitative. The only difference is, what you want to achieve, what is your research agenda, research targets. And if your research target or nature of objectives or nature of research question, your own background, what gaps you have identified, how you have stated the problem, what purpose you have said, purpose statement. All that that may push you to be purely qualitative or purely quantitative or mixed them. Right? So, in both cases, you have to be very keen, critical thinker and observer and apply yourself fully and justify your research decisions and research choices. Right? Justification is very crucial.
So this is very wonderful start of our interactive session. So we now understand that qualitative research is contextual and meaningless, but every research approach stands on philosophical foundations. Let us move to the philosophical assumptions behind qualitative inquiry. If we talk about qualitative assumptions, research is not about methods, it is also about mindset. Every research study is built upon certain philosophical assumptions. So for our understanding, I would like to Mr. Ali Furqan, would you please explain the philosophical assumptions according to you?
Thank you, Ms. Aisha. There are 4 philosophical assumptions when we go through the qualitative research inquiry. The first one is ontology. And ontology, again, the discussion would be about reality. Realities are not fixed. And these are different. And when we want to explore any phenomena, whenever we want to any kind of case study, the realities are different, so the interpretations are different, so the explanations are different. And then the other one, epistemology, the other assumption, other worldview in qualitative research, that is about epistemology. This is all about knowledge, where from we are taking the knowledge, what kind of knowledge is there that is being explored in the research. So knowledge, again, even the definition of knowledge again is not fixed. This is basically different in, according to different philosophers. And even for me, knowledge would be a different one. For you, knowledge would be a different one. The third one, axiology. This is all about values.
The role of values.
The role of values, the role of culture. Again, Foucault says that culture is a lens through which we understand society, anything even. So this is very much important to understand the values, the role of values, the role of norms, the roles of culture, the role of our societal systems. So this is very much important. And the fourth one is methodology, methodological assumption. Again, here the focus is on the systems, the procedures, the techniques, and finally the phenomena can be explored when we have a methodological, when we have an expertise in methodological assumption. So this is about 4 assumptions, and even these assumptions and philosophical worldviews in qualitative research influence the study. And even these influence the English studies and other studies also. Even.
Don't you think these philosophical worldviews and theoretical stances, they are different?
Obviously, sir, these are different.
They are 4 and these 4 they are different.
Yes.
How can you compare both?
If we talk about the theoretical one, the first one is such. Can you?
Narrative research.
No. Post-positivism.
Yes.
Constructive.
Yes.
Constructive.
If we compare it quantitative,
Yes.
so the post-positivism is purely focused on quantitative and objectivity,
Yes.
generalizability. And constructivism, again, it is how construction of meaning, and construction of meaning purely based on society and context. This is context based and this is qualitative in nature also. And the other one is transformativism. This is again qualitative. Here we explore phenomena like marginalization, racism, such kind of issues, feminism, discrimination, patriarchy, male dominance, such kind of issues are explored under transformativism. And the final one is pragmatism. This theoretical worldview is purely for mixed methods research. When we combine two researches, qualitative and quantitative, objectivity and subjectivity, interviews and the quantitative data are surveys, then we are bound to use pragmatism, the method of that research.
Okay, there are two PhD, scholars sitting here in your commission, Rudra and Maksud. I want to know what is your philosophical worldview and what is your theoretical assumption.
Okay, coming to the philosophical assumption, as you said, so that
Philosophical worldview out of 4 and theoretical assumption that is also out of 4.
So my research is purely qualitative, and I was discussing so many things and dealing with so many issues that could be asked in the
No,
method.
when the question is asked about philosophical worldview, we don't ask about methodology. So that is the,
So it's qualitative as far as you said, so that is the context bound realities are to be exposed in terms of.
that's all right, fine, qualitative and the whole, discussion on qualitative, what it is and how it is. So, the panelists, they say that, well, philosophical worldviews and theoretical stances, they are very, very vital to start the research. Now you both are about to finish the research. So it's okay, you can just go back and revisit, the starting point and put it there. And then, Maksud, I asked you, I think.
Yes, sir. Theoretical as a framework, if we talk about theoretical,
Philosophical
theoretical stance, that is constructivist, because my study falls in the category of qualitative research, and when we study constructivisms, we find that qualitative research finds in that area. And my research is purely qualitative, that's why my theoretical stance is constructivism.
Theoretical stance or philosophical worldview?
Theoretical stance.
Theoretical stance. Yes. And what is your philosophical worldview?
Philosophical is positive.
Okay, sorry to cut you. Just wanted to clear this perspective that is saying that there is a theoretical stance and then philosophical worldview. So philosophical worldview in terms of philosophy of that particular, how that particular research was constructed or viewed.
You were given the choice out of 4. Pick one out of 4 and declare your study comes under this umbrella.
Okay, there were 4.
Can you repeat the question?
I think I can.
So just name them.
If we talk about the philosophical assumption of philosophical worldview, then that is constructivism. Theoretical is something else. Theory can be a different way. Theoretical framework or theoretical perspective can be different. For example, eco-linguistics can be a theoretical one. Post-colonial aspect that can be a theoretical one. But the philosophical assumptions are 4. But theories can be a long list of theories.
But which 4 are the philosophical worldview?
Positivism.
That is purely quantitative.
That is yes, purely quantitative. Objective is there, generalizability is there. Constructivism.
That is purely qualitative.
That is purely
So constructivism.
Yes. Under constructivism, different theories.
Okay, which are those?
Modernism, postmodernism, colonialism, yes, and structuralism. So these are basically theories. There can be other theories. Feminism can also be discussed under constructivism. Yes, psychoanalysis. There is a long list of theories.
And then the third one is transformative. Yes. Now,
And transformative is another form of qualitative research as well.
Yes.
And what is the difference between constructivism and transformatism, as you said so?
Transformative.
What is the basic difference? I mean, but how can we make a line of demarcation between both? Both are qualitative.
Both are qualitative in nature, and when we talk about constructivism, here the meaning is constructed
In context.
in context. This is faced with context. We cannot interpret the words, we cannot interpret even the meanings, we cannot give explanations without context. But when we switch from constructivism to transformativism, then the transformation, then there is a kind of change in which you are supposed to transform society in any way. For example, if the phenomena is marginalization, then you are supposed to transform society in a way. Then you are supposed to talk about, you become a voice for voiceless people. So this is transformativism.
Okay, again, I have a question. Sorry for asking so many
And even in critical discourse analysis, we do transform societies. We talk about the different agendas.
As you said, so that constructivism, basically, which is basically to construct. Without construction, transformativity or transformism is possible. So both are not intellect to some extent. First of all, we have to learn, we have to construct.
Obviously, these are interconnected. Research is a phenomenon, according to my understanding, this is all interconnected. There is interconnectivity. There is interdiscursivity. So we cannot do research in isolation.
So
if in your case, scale of the study is large and some elements you declare
constructivism
and some transformative.
Yes.
And transformativism, because CDA is your analytical
Yes,
framework
yes.
and CDA theories you are dealing with.
That is why
So
I
you can, without any fear, you can declare that my stance is transformative, or my philosophical worldview is transformative worldview. And then in between, when you were descriptive, because scale is large, then you may say that constructivism elements they were also.
because contextual parameters are very much there when we are analyzing social media means. So I cannot negate this constructionism from my research. So it's an amalgamation of constructionism or transformation. So basically, it's with a construct and then it transforms.
Okay, out of four,
Two are-
positivism, that is not your.
That is not my area of research.
And even pragmatism, that is not
That is not my
your
area.
cup of tea. So you are left with two. Now, how you merge them beautifully, blend them beautifully, that is, what you have to do in your submission, right? Or on the day of events. Now, events is very clear.
Especially as far as my topic of research is concerned, that is social media memes on rape and harassment victims in Pakistan and critical discourse analysis. So basically, memes are constructed within Pakistani socio-cultural context. So cultural context cannot be negated when we are dealing with the community because it's a triangular relationship between cognition, society, textual or textual structure, textual based on linguistic and semiotic choices both. So these are interconnected. So obviously construction
point is, you must keep that in mind that, well, on the day of defense, you are not to, explain a lot.
Okay.
You have to speak like a researcher and bring a sense of alignment.
Yes.
We also, Creswell talks about alignment. So directly when you start with philosophical worldview, this is it, then that's it, then move on to your objectives, and then but when you try to elaborate too much and that is not there in the draft.
Sir, I have to tell our teacher with me for the final day of defense.
And Maqsood
Yes, sir.
is also the completion.
Sir Furqan talks about marginalizations. In this way, I can say that my study also falls in under the category of transformativism because I'm writing about colonized peoples. And colonized people are those peoples who are put aside in the lower strata of the society. And the imperial peoples, they rule there and they capture their minds and guns. So, constructivism is the basis of my theoretical framework because my theoretical framework is post-colonial approach. And then moving towards the marginalized point of view and using discourse historical approach, then I can say that my study falls under the category of transformativism because the concept of marginalization is there.
So this marginalization that puts you into transformative worldview,
Yes.
and in your case, mind control or public cognition.
Public
And that is also CGA transformative agenda. So in both cases, they fall under transformative worldview.
As Ms. Lugarat said that in her topic there is kind of harassment, word harassment that she used. So obviously you need to explain, you need to construct what does it mean by harassment. So obviously constructivism is there and then transformative. And even Seth also explored this phenomenon that there wasn't any transformative perspective or worldview before. There was only three worldviews. And then there was an intervention of transformatism after think about this. Basically, as Allama Iqbal have thought about Pakistan, making of Pakistan, Sir also have thought about transformativism, and then Creswell included this one.
Sir, as far as harassment is concerned, sexual harassment and rape is concerned, there are clear, you can say judicial procedures for that. There is judicial verdicts like Act 375 is clear. There is Sharia rules for this, so there are social constructive as well. You can put in terms of the rules which are indicated that is this harassment or is this rape or not. So there are clear verdicts about judiciary and law, and there are clear verdicts about Sharia, Islamic Sharia Pakistan. So there are acts to that which can be called either it's rape or either it's harassment.
Thank you. Please.
So, sir, in short, we can say that Abdullah is still here, though he is not physical.
Yes. Seems to be Abdullah's sister.
So I don't want to meet him now.
I have a supervisee, Abdullah, and when he's there, he doesn't let anybody talk. And
So I take it as a reality check and I will
Here I have a question. Sir, how does worldview influence research design?
you see, when you see the universe with certain lenses, and you bring your whole personality, your whole background, your whole approach, your whole cognition, your whole ideology that comes into play, and then you categorize yourself. This is the journey of self-exploration. You know yourself. And then things start going in the right direction, then alignment is achieved once you set that, the thread proper. you identify with one worldview, and as a result, the decisions you make, they flow in the right direction. So that is very crucial, the starting point where you explore yourself. The journey, it's not a race, it's a journey. It starts with self-exploration, knowing thyself, and then starting the whole flow till the end.
So, sir, what about research design? How you connect it with research design?
You should, for example, this is she has identified two philosophical worldview. She has minus, the criteria is automatically set of inclusion and exclusion. The choices and research decisions, they are easy to make. So when you reach to the research design and you say it is now mixed method and then the nature of research questions, that is said that it is first quantitative, then qualitative, first qualitative, then quantitative, purely qualitative, purely qualitative. So that is all behind that. There is all this philosophical worldview, theoretical kind of assumption.
So now we are well understand the philosophy behind qualitative research. Now the turn is research problems and questions. If I ask to my panelists and audience, according to you people, what makes a research problem qualitative? Anyone?
When you want to explore the ideas, meanings, people's opinions and their experiences, then it will be.
Then I interpret some themes, some thematic context in order to explore in deep the layered meanings there in that.
So
So, Anna, is there any difference between qualitative research problem and quantitative research problem?
Yes. There is a greater difference because of the philosophical worldview and the theoretical stances, because quantitative research is purely focused on statistical analysis and we are just going for general data and going for practical implications. But qualitative is the one in which we go for case studies, narrative, epistemological studies, because we aim at getting rich data. We aim at getting the data. For example, we selected the sample and population after inclusion and exclusion, but we have selected the sample and we have to dig it deeply. We have to get it deeper and richer understanding. It is to be holistic. So the qualitative one is purely rich understanding and quantitative is about generalization. So there is a
Okay, so if it is mixed method research, then the nature of statement of problem will be different.
Yes, it will be different because when we develop the statement of the problem, we have to divide it into different, moves are there. The first one is the background, the second one is what are we specifically focusing. Also, when the statement of the problem is quantitative, in short, it is more about quantification. We have terms like the statement itself annotates and references towards the quantification. It gives us a symbolic intervention. But the qualitative one is like you have to explore, you have to go deep down, and basically in research we use the term holistic understanding, and it was respect as well. So
Ms. Arnab, how will you define this holistically?
holistic is about selecting a certain phenomena and then going for the exploration deep down. You can use multiple theoretical frameworks. You can go for triangulation. You can even employ multiple methodological techniques.
Right.
So it is more about richer and deeper understanding.
The richer understanding of something that is holistic kind of in-depth journey.
And when there is mixed method studies, obviously we have to combine both of them. So there will be all the combination and pros and cons of both quantitative and qualitative.
Yes, the point is when you say statement of the problem, you must be able to justify that statement of the problem and your research design. If the alignment is not there, it means that you are going in the wrong direction.
The question says that this statement problem, qualitative statement problem, it is inherently exploratory in nature.
Exactly.
So explorations are there in qualitative research problem. We give voices to the voiceless people. We do something for marginalized people. We, in a way, we try to transform a chunk of society. So, exploration.
The choice of words, your diction,
Yes.
the key idea which you capture, that must indicate that you are purely qualitative or purely quantitative or mixed method.
Yes.
So, sir, can we say that when there is basically exploration in terms of that particular problem and then explanation of the problem?
Exploration and explanation.
Explanation.
Explanation goes into quantitative and exploration goes into qualitative.
Qualitative.
Qualitative. When frequencies being checked, how many, how much?
That is
there, that
quantitative.
is for quantitative.
Quantitative.
And when why and how, that is qualitative.
But within, as we are discussing exploration and explanation, within quantitative studies too, we are going for quantitative analysis. Like we go for transformative analysis, we go for multiple analysis of multiple terms, and even the softwares that we have for qualitative analysis. Within that, we have the quantification, our visual representation, and capabilities.
Yes.
It also means explanation. Explanation. So exactly emergence of explanation and exploration both.
And even quantification is allowed by Cresswell in qualitative research. Very right. Ms. Samna, thank you.
And nowadays, I kept stressing one of my PhD supervisors, use of software.
Yes.
That is very crucial even if you are purely quantitative.
Yes.
Why? Because your data analysis becomes very compact and it embellishes your study.
Yes.
And
So, but
that is why Maksud is using MBO for the.
So, but in my case, there was more contextual varieties were there in terms of the construction of team. There was Romanized would do, there was totally code mix and code switching. So, there is no particular software which is basically analyzing all.
She's doing PhD and a
So, plus contextual.
multimodality, and you are using
LN software.
LN software.
But it's still, as I'm dealing with Pakistani litigation, so it's not dealing with the contextual parameter. Why? Because the same link can be circulated in different scenarios. Like the same human harassment can be within the England and American context, and how it is being used within Pakistani. So you can say socio-political scenario. It's totally have a different meaning. So there are software which are still unable to meet the parameter. So that's it. I talked to one who was basically the theory I'm using that. So he said, so I would suggest purely qualitative research because your topic is more concerned.
No, that's okay. Purely qualitative, but using software to make your data compact.
Yes.
Data analysis compact. And bringing that figures and charts and all that and sandwiching them and making it more impressive.
And-
that was it.
And even if we are using Venn model, we can add quantifications at first level, textual level. We can draw graphs, we can make
No, the one that is macro. At micro level,
At micro level, it is
a
text.
descriptive kind of software
Yes.
you could have brought.
Basically, my research is qualitative, but I have realized tabulation analysis where the toolkits are followed purely. So that was a way to specify what can be done through the software, means coding.
Once
and-
Amna completes her PhD,
I'll do.
you will see
I'll
her-
research article with her.
you would see that in her case, data analysis part is very sophisticated. In your case, it would be more, raw, manual kind of tabulation and putting them on that gives some, in modern times, it doesn't give good impression.
Here, sir, as we have already discussed, objectivity in subjectivity.
Yes.
When we are generalizing those tabulations.
Yes.
So same goes with the topic as well. Now, cognition is subjective as well.
Yes, obviously.
Sir, but I would like to add one thing before ending the discussion. Like you are working on social media. So if you want to go for use of software, it's your own choice especially, but if you want to go for software, you can use some corpus-based softwares,
Okay.
and you can make a list of some target words, and you can get the number of frequencies, and then you can go for the cognitive and discourse analysis. So it's up to you to add multiple layers. But one advantage of using a software is, although your study is quite excellent, I have read the report, it's quite excellent and impressive, but if you want to make it more impressive, you can use the software and you can use the subjectivity or the things that whether it is right or wrong to make it more generalizable. So software can make it more, the subjectivity can be, the biases.
Yes.
And which even it would be easier, even it would be easier to find out the context by using corpus tool.
Yes.
You can read the right context.
What should be skilled in using software as well, na? To have clear know how to utilize, how to make meaning out of that. Just apply the software and then think nothing is something.
But sir, I think if the researcher gives justifications, right justifications for the answers, for the data collection or data procedure or data analysis, then all is fine.
All is fine. That is what we have the huge advantage. Here in our case, there is nothing correct or incorrect. The only thing which makes it incorrect is poor justification. If your justification is strong and according to the research norms, then it is perfect.
So, but I have a question: what type of software use in qualitative? Like in quantitative use and and in qualitative, I don't know.
In qualitative, we can use in when we explore context, when we explore concordances. So these can be used in
And video can be
quantitative.
used.
And we would purely for qualitative.
And we do.
But Ali Gurgan was saying that even corpus assisted softwares can be used for qualitative studies. And that is what I was reading about when about CTA. That CTA practitioners are labeled as very biased and victim of preconceived notions. And then what was the name of the book?
Which one, sir? Flower Dew?
Flower Dew. Yes. In Flower Dew, in chapter number 10, I
10,
think.
yes.
It was chapter number 10 where corpus assisted approaches, he introduced them, and his reason was that CTA practitioners can get the cover. When they use that, they can come out of subjectivity and bias stance and preconceived notion, sort of things, and then their studies would be more acceptable. So, corpus assisted approaches.
Can be very helpful whenever we talk to the basically the person who have feel like one he never you can say recommend software or he deny that is expected to be qualitative because it's more context oriented, it's more related to, so there are reasons for that as well. So when you're doing
I
context,
am also working on a research, and many researchers, they have used corpus assisted tools while they were analyzing data according to Venn model. That is micro level instructions. We can use, and even sir, an interesting thing that is sentiment analysis. This is purely relevant to qualitative one, and it is purely relevant to fiction. We pick a fiction with text, and then we are supposed to analyze sentiment analysis. And in sentiment analysis, we try to explore emotions like positive one and the negative one. And I am working on a sentiment analysis by using YM tool. And the interesting thing is that when I have applied that YM tool, the positive emotion based words are separate one and the negative one are separate one. And then and then I have explored the context, and the concatenations.
Wow.
So that is quite easy for
So
me
it
to
doesn't
do
work.
sentiment
So it
analysis.
doesn't work on the phonetics as well in terms of if we are dealing with the speeches or the speeches.
No, no, for
the
phonetics,
pitch and the
for phonetics and phonology, I think graph.
So written text only.
But one thing you must be clear that well, this is analytical tool,
Yes,
not analytical framework.
yes,
So analytical framework has to be, it has to be based on, stem from literature.
yes.
And then you should be very clear that what is your approach to data, nature of data, and how you are going to, apply that toolkit or the and in between, while doing that, as you were saying, microstructure. One model is there. Now there you will use software as an analytical tool to make it more impressive. So that analytical. Now she is about to complete her PhD without using any software, in spite of my insistence. But,
My forward evaluation is done.
Forward evaluation is done, and but the point is, I still say that at any point, now in her case, why? Because the analytical framework was very clear, and she was doing it manually and going towards the conclusion and summing it up very well. But when you use software, it becomes, kind of more appealing and more interesting. We have Dr. Swara also here. She has joined. Please welcome her.
So, learn is about data collection. If I talk about data collection, there is a sampling and sampling. Sampling in qualitative research is fundamentally different from quantitative research. We don't use random sampling to achieve generalization. Instead, we almost always use purposeful sampling. We look for information-rich context or information-rich participants, those from whom we can learn a great ideas and deal about the issue central to our research. The logic is all about depth and quantity. So, if I talk about major data collection tools, so according to you, Ms. Afia, what are the major data collection tools?
According to me, there are 4 tools we can use for the data collection. Interviews, they can be highly structured, semi-structured by using an interview guide with an open-ended questions or unstructured live conversation. And semi-structured interviews are most common and allows for the flexibility to explore unexpected topics. And the second is observations. The researcher takes field notes on the behavior and activities of individuals at the research site. And the third, documents. This involves collecting public and private documents, for example, emails, minutes of meetings, personal journals, official reports, students' essays, and this provides a rich source of information about the context and the phenomena. And the last one is about the field notes. Field notes is the backbone of qualitative research and data collection. It's not just about the recording. It's about what you see and hear. A good field journal includes descriptive notes, like a detailed portrait of the setting, people and conversation, and reflective notes include the researchers' personal thoughts, feelings, problems, and ideas. So, according to me, these 4 were the main tools for the data collection.
Irsa is sitting here by supervising. I remember field notes that was your focus initially when you were here for Brazil. What is your data collection strategy or tool? What data you are trying to collect?
So actually I have changed the tools. So now these are the semi-structured interviews and the focus groups and also the reflective essays, which is one of the newest methods. It has been published in a really recent research in 2025. So I'm using these 3.
Okay. 3.
Yes.
How do you justify 3?
So actually, I have 4 research questions. So each the tool is for answering the one of those research questions. Means the tools are actually related to the questions. And the thing is, I'm using triangulation, and this has been also approved by many researchers. So in triangulation, what we do is we try to answer the same research questions which we have by using different tools. So in my case, it is in method triangulation because I'm using 3 methods which are focus group discussions, substitute interviews, and the essays, reflective essays within the qualitative method. So this is in method triangulation.
Good. So that is the way to answer. You don't speak like a researcher, not like a teacher. Okay. A precise answer according to the research now, taking help from some notion from research methodology book or some research methodologists, and then justifying why it is so, giving clear answer of why. Right?
So, what are the field notes?
How do you get field notes?
As far as I remember, because I'm not using field notes, these are right. What?
Structured interviews.
Yes. Now, what are field notes?
So, is it so they are used in scientific research? Means they are making experiments?
So I think these are what we take when we are on the site. I think
Observations or something?
That is really part of observation. You know, sometimes when you go and even while conducting interview, now some people they say that we should video record that. Why? Because our focus is body language, facial expression. Now in older times, people would take notes.
yes, sir.
I remember Deborah Tennant mentioning the torturing kind of time in the past when she would take excessive notes for the analysis and data, collecting data from the society and community. So field notes is very crucial in both interviews as well as in observatory studies. When you go and observe something, you go to observe the class. Now there is checklist in front of you which you take, and that is quantification.
Yes, sir.
But apart from that, your own notes of the things you observe, when you put them and document them, then you can say that those field notes, they will be very handy in your analysis.
Well said. I must add something about this one. Sometimes the researcher, him or herself, becomes an instrument
Yes, in quantitative.
in qualitative research. And then there are field notes and such kind of things. Yes.
The researcher is insider.
Insider.
Participant, researcher.
He becomes even a participant.
Participant. And there is another, research design which is not mentioned by Creswell, action research.
Yes.
Yes.
Action research is also, the researcher becomes very vital, and researcher is participant.
Another important thing with reference to data collection, that is sample size.
Yes.
And in this, we focus, and even Chris says that the point of saturation. When you think that there isn't any kind of
Fixed numbers.
fixed numbers and there isn't any kind of repetition, then you should stop.
Yes.
And if there are certain answers which are different from the previous one, then you should go for interviews and observations and checklists and interference in data collection. So you can prolong till the point of saturation.
But how to determine saturation point?
So basically, first of all, there should be a proper criteria. There is the data gathering, then data screening, and then data saturation point comes at the later stage. First of all, you gather data, then to screen data and how much is relevant to the
You
topic.
need to say transcribe data.
So first of all, gathering the relevant data, then screening to get it what is relevant to your topic and what is relevant to your design and how you're going to reach to the point of saturation. I thought I like good frequency count. That is one technique of process sampling. That no more code is being added to the social media means which I have selected. That already these codes have already been handed to the means, and there is no need to take the same mean dealing with all the codes. So code frequency now basically restricts you that they help you to attain data saturation in terms of selecting the social media means as well as my topic is concerned. So I have selected, chosen 50 social media means because they were more extensive in terms of the two methods to be analyzed, press analysis, multimodal discourse analysis, and Monday social cognitive. Plus, code frequency count helped me a lot in terms of selecting social media means. And there were 10 rare cases which I was dealing as far as my data was concerned. And the filter which I had, only those cases were selected on which at least there was minimum 25 to 50 means were
Yes, very interesting. Saturation point, how she achieved that, and is focusing on the memes and any repetition, discarding that and moving forward. Now, Amna, what is your style of reaching to saturation point?
So there are different steps that I have followed. Basically, my dissertation is related to multivariate discourse analysis and within that it is coding, deductive coding is there. Because in that coding, one is according to the already pre-existing notions of the pre-existing frameworks of values, because my subject is related to cultural values. So for that I selected these research frameworks. According to the research objectives, I have selected the data and the data is advertisements, and I have got about the sample was primary advertisements, and that was from 2022 to 2025. So that was then comes the biggest challenge of inclusion and exclusion. For inclusion and exclusion, I had to go for looking for iteration rather than repetition. The advertisements that were being that were in the process of iteration they were excluded, and within that I have followed the coding framework, and that coding framework has helped me to develop the list of codes according to the frameworks, and after developing the frameworks, then comes the analysis for NN. So within that I have selected the whole advertisement. For example, I have 75 advertisements after the process of inclusion and exclusion. And after selecting the 75 advertisements, I have divided it into different frameworks, different level of analysis, because then I have the flexibility to go for even 11 to 12 layer of analysis. Because management I'm directed discourse analysis, and we have to go for semiotic analysis, for the gesture, different things like that. So for that I developed 10 to 11 years, and in a line we have the option to descriptively elaborate within the different interfaces. So this is the selection after the analysis is complete. So after that I will go for the new analysis, because I have to address the concept of biasness of the study. So triangulation is also done, the saturation point is also achieved, and I think it's more than enough. And when I go for the final analysis, then finally it will be a massive pages. And then for that, in order to tackle it, I have planned to develop the qualitative data metrics, that is the research question, and the methods and strategies that have been developed from me. And in findings and results, I have basically focused on tabular representation, because NN itself provides the visual format, so I can put them in the results. And for the interviews also, I can go for transcription and that text.
Okay, very impressive answer, very convincing. Memuna, yours was only interviews, right?
Yes.
Semi-structure.
Yes, sir, sir.
How did you determine saturation point?
Sir, according to the research objectives, as my topic is related to the latest activity in the market, critical discourse, analytical perspective of the marginalization of non-native speaking teachers. So there were 3 objectives basically, where I want to know about the experiences of the non-native English speaking teachers. Then I want to know about the resistance strategies which they are using while serving in the IT job market. And then I want to explore the themes of marginalization there in the IT job market. So according to these objectives, I analyze the data, and then I reach to the saturation point.
Okay, you reach to saturation point based on your analysis. It means after that you did the analysis, and you kept transcribing and analyzing, and then you determined at certain point, well, now there is repetition.
Sir, according to the objectives.
At what point did you stop collecting data, declaring that saturation point has reached?
Sir, according to the objectives,
She's not, clear about. You see, you have different answers.
Yes.
How to reach saturation point? In her case, it was very kind of calculated or very, mathematical. In her case, it was comprehensive, and both, referring to software steps and then triangulation and all that. Now, Mahmooda, you please, think it again. Saturation point, when in qualitative study, you will say that, well, the ultimate criteria is saturation point. But you have to prove on the day of defense that I reach saturation point. Then your answer must be very convincing. Maksud, how did you reach the saturation point?
Yes, sir. I have conducted semi-structured interview, and the technique that I have used, expert purposive sampling technique, because I have to choose the experts who are teaching the selected literary text. That I have 3 selected literary texts, and even if they are not teaching these literary texts, they should be teaching this area, that is post-colonial literature. And during the course of interviews, when I started doing the interviews of these experts, according to the questions that I have set for the interviews, and questions are based on my research objectives. And in research objectives, I have 3 constructs. That is, one is preservation of culture, and then the preservation of history, and then the preservation of identity. And during the course of interview, and after each interview, I feel that now things are being repeated. Because all the experts are talking about the same narrative techniques, such as non-linear narrative techniques, and oral story, and then oral traditions, and then the preservations of cultures, and how the colonized peoples, using their own language, using their own indigenous native languages and idioms and different practices to preserve their cultural history. And
Is this answer acceptable? I felt that there was repetition of ideas.
I think
You can't say that, well, while conducting interview, I had a feeling that ideas were being repeated, and as a result, I stopped the interviews.
yes,
You need to document. You need to, make a very solid point of stopping the repetition. And if you don't document it well, and if you don't justify the data, collection procedure, it's a big thing in your research journey that you decided to stop the data. Here, you cannot bring subjectivity.
yes.
They say this subjectivity is stupidity.
yes.
And they don't allow, nobody will allow it. It was your own sweet will. You felt that ideas were being repeated. That means you have to, give the answer, you transcribe them on daily basis. After every
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
you transcribe them,
Yes.
and then you did the analysis. She referred to data cleaning or data mapping, or going through the script and going into the second script, and then maybe interview number 7 and 8, that can be very vital, very crucial. At that point, you do some kind of analysis to determine saturation,
Yes.
and document that and stop the data. Right?
Yes, sir. Whenever as a researcher we find that we are collecting data, and we are documenting the data, and at that point we find that there is repetition, and again you find that repeated answers, and there isn't any new information. When you find that, then there should be a stop. But
But then there can be another huge issue. Maybe there is something wrong with your interview items
Yes.
that you didn't, kind of establish their credibility or you didn't make them strong enough to collect the data, and as a result, respondents or participants, they are not giving you in-depth answers. That can be one factor. The other, maybe data collection process was not conducted in a proper way. You didn't sensitize your participants, or you didn't make them willingly, wholeheartedly willing to participate. And as a result, their answers, responses are half-hearted. And there can be so many factors. But the point is, each of this must be documented, and you must fight your case at every point. This point, instrument was wonderful, items were wonderful, credibility was established, expert, opinion was, expert in the field, professors, they gave the feedback, it was modified, even in some cases, pilot testing, that is purely quantitative, but in case of qualitative also, you do the analysis. In grounded theory, of course, you do the analysis, continuous kind of analysis. So the point is, you have to present your case in every way to prove yourself a solid, complete researcher who is mindful about each and everything.
So, criteria for inclusivity and exclusivity can be very helpful in this regard. Like what to be added, what not to be added.
Very well.
Yes.
Sir, here is a point. We are at the initial stage of PhD. I have a question. I have a critical question. When we conduct an interview for a research, so how do we avoid bias during interview?
You see, during interview, that is why I say some people think that interview is very simple. You go with the questions and ask, and then you get the answer. But you have to be more prepared than the participant. And your level of preparation that comes with your deep understanding and knowledge of recent studies. If you have gripped them wonderfully well, you know with the gaps, and you have categorized those gaps in the objectives of your study. Those objectives, they in a symmetrical way run into the items in the interview, questionnaire. Then you sit there with wonderful clear-headedness. That 15 items, 15 items, 15 items, 3 items, 3 items, 3 items. And then your focus is all on the participant to keep him or her well directed.
Yes.
So your own being biased or not biased, that is not there. But your role is to keep your participant well directed and get your target is to get the rich data. If both these targets are achieved, then your job as a qualitative researcher relying on interview as an instrument, that is a job well done.
So, I said that the goal is to be non-judgmental during interview.
Well, it is, in everyday life also. While researchers are always, they are called better human beings. So, better human beings, even when they interact, they don't, cut each other's words, they don't intrude, they apologize, they have the etiquettes, the social manners. During interview, it has to be in the full swing. Wonderful display of all social norms, sophistication, civilization. And don't try to be assertive, or don't try to give the answer in the mouth of your participant. Don't direct in a way that later the transcription it will be visible, that you force your participant to give that kind of response. Yes. So it has to be very kind of same kind of process during the interview.
In some cases, as a researcher, we become report. We question like report. one question, other question, there is any transitional word or markers, and we are asking all the way.
Well, that is there in structured interview.
Yes.
You can be, remote in structured interview. That's why, for example, you want to conduct interview from some people in Canada. You can't travel to Canada and your interview is structured.
Yes.
So you can ask your friend, go there and speak it out like a report and get the responses, record them and send the recording to you. But in case of unstructured and semi-structured interview, you have to be very highly proficient in language also.
Yes.
You have to be, you need to have discourse competence, socio-linguistic competence. You have to be, very well prepared about the content which you are expecting.
And in some cases, sir, we need to build a trust also. Without building a trust, we cannot even take answers we want to.
Exactly. Trust building in rest of the world, not in our part of the world. They prepare the participants in, out of the box ways. Maybe taking them on the lunch or giving them some parties and bringing them into that cooperative mode. Here is just, I want to conduct your interview.
Very straightforward.
I am coming.
Very good.
At 12 o'clock, will it be okay? Now, and then if you don't have kind of vasta, so really follow vasta. And the participant is not, happy with you that why the hell she has come. And then the responses will be very bad. And that is why interview just capturing some participant, going attacking the office of that participant. I'm here to conduct your interview. So the data collected in that case, maybe in Pakistan you complete your MSc or even PhD, but abroad any procedural flaw found at any point, you are in trouble.
And encouragement is also very important while you are conducting an interview. Sometimes in interview he feels that he is less encouraged, he is less enthusiastic, but your encouragement becomes the cause of the right answer.
Yes, it's better idea, wonderful idea. When you go for the interview, take not very expensive things, maybe some chocolate box or some candies or some. As a gesture that I really, I like you, I love you, I really like you.
I want to relate a story. I told you about some scholars blocked me for giving feedback on their voice notes. And then one day she suddenly unblocked me and please never use the word please or thank you. I want to interview you willingly, okay, no problem. And then there was no thank you, no sorry, no excuse me, no please.
Okay.
Suggest them to read a story on saying please.
Not saying please. And even though the bias, they come to you through your principal, through.
Even in that case, data cannot be reliable or can't be rich data. If it is a kind of forced participation. So somehow, as a researcher, as a qualitative researcher, you have to prepare your participant also. You have to take drastic steps to prepare your participant. And you have to sometimes be ready to invest something on your participant. And here in Pakistan, researchers, they are so miserly. They think that, well, without spending even 10 rupees,
they come with empty hand. And they will go with empty headed hand.
And there are social issues. For example, if they come to you and they bring some gift, Then there are social issues. Corruption, institutional corruption. He was sitting in his office and there came a researcher and he told his answers
Yes, sir.
in just one perfume.
So even not just comment, even their
But we need to, we as researchers, we need to set the trends. And that is not there in Islamabad. In Islamabad, going for the research and collecting data and taking gifts, it is a normal practice. Going to the teachers and taking gifts, that is, even today we do that. But here in Sialkot, it's totally different.
And if the supervisors from Sialkot, they submit their thesis in the last month without having even a single meeting, that is not corruption.
Yes.
So I have a question. When you conduct the semi-structured interview, is it necessary for the researcher to be the participant directly for conducting an interview, or anyone else can go for it?
Semi-structured is not advised unless you have a kind of friend who has same area, same expertise, same field, same gender, same everything same. And then you document that. And you say, well, that happened in Saudi Arabia, Dr. Khan.
Yes,
He wanted to conduct interview from some females, and in Saudi Arabia, going to the females is next to impossible. Now what he did, he documented all the things and then he picked one researcher, female researcher, handed over his instrument to her, and she conducted the interview, recorded it, and then gave that to the research.
So it
That is special circumstances.
special. Means that we should avoid this one.
Avoid as much as
So
possible.
as per the criteria, the press that it is not mentioned
Yes.
that for semi-structured interview, you have to be the participant or maybe the part of that interview.
You see, in case of Dr. Khan, he documented everything. Even
Justified
the supervisor was taken into confidence. University was taken into confidence. And they knew that when there are constraints, social constraints. So it was okay. Justified, well, accepted.
So, Ms. Safia, what was the third that question to you mentioned? Interview, observation, and third one was?
Documents and field notes.
Third one was fourth one, huh?
Yes.
Document
Third one
third.
is documents.
Okay, thank you.
That is archival research, Noor.
Yes, yes.
We had a wonderful
Archival.
discussion on that.
So, due to lack of time, we have to wind up our session, a wonderful session. So, today we move from definition to philosophy, philosophy to design, design to data and data tools and trustworthiness and all, everything we have covered in a very few time. So, we learned that qualitative research is not about numbers, it is about meaning, voice and interpretations. So it is a journey of discovery and requiring curiosity, empathy and rigorous self-awareness. So wind up this session, I just want for our supervisor to give some expert wind up message at the end of the session.
Okay, mashallah, it was third in the series of these GGDs, graded group discussions. First they had mixed methods, then they had a discussion on quantitative, and now today, last day of the class, end of semester, and they came up with a session on qualitative. And I'm thankful that today audience, very relevant audience. All of them researchers. Some have completed the journey. Dr. Samara, some are near completion. Amna and Rudra, and two are waiting for the defense. Their defense is on the third. Samina and Memuna. And Irsa is in her, final phase. I don't know when she'll complete that. And Maksood also near completion. And two beginners in first semester, Noor and Sabah. They are beginners. So see, diversity of audiences they were there, and as a result, diversity in this discussion also. It was wonderful, and I really appreciate the PhD scholars. They have done a wonderful job, and I'm sure that the depth of knowledge they have built, the foundations they have built in the first semester, they will carry it along into the second semester, and then in research phase, all this testing time, waking up at night, 4 SR sessions, PYP and PYP and GGD, they will support you a lot. Your level of preparation that will be great, and as a result, this journey will be smooth.
Very supportive.
I'm thankful to the audience also, and wonderful audience. Though there was some silent, spectators sitting, but their eyes were sleeping. Yes. They were keenly involved. There was sparky eyes, and all in all, it was a kind of revision or consolidation of what you already know, and then building some. This networking is very, very crucial to grow as a social scientist or as a qualitative researcher. So when you stay connected with the people, you always feel that you are growing in the right direction. At the moment you are cut up, it means you are heading nowhere. So this connectivity, we must promote that, and with that, I thank everybody. It was a wonderful session.
Thank you. But we have a small activity for the audience, just 2 minutes activity. And we have MCQs based questions for you. Qualitative research primarily focuses on, we have options: measurement, statistical testing, meaning and interpretation, and numerical variables.
Meaning and interpretation.
Everybody down, please.
Very well. Qualitative research is usually deductive, experimental, inductive, or predictive. Please be loud. Inductive. Very good.
Why there were some skeptic answers?
These are very simple questions, and the ontological assumption suggests one objective reality, no reality, fixed truth. Fixed.
There's also an option multiple realities.
Multiple explanations.
Multiple realities.
Epistemology in qualitative research emphasizes distance, objectivity, interaction, and control. Interaction. And this is all about interaction. It is an amazing activity, and we have found interaction in real sense.
Yes.
And even Ms. Nusrat participated a lot, even more than us.
I wish you could have been made to sit here as part of the panel. So too.
We will try to, inshallah, conduct another activity, and Bisamna, Masood, and Bisamna will be. The last question is axiology refers to sampling, values in research, coding, and themes. It is all about values. Thank you for participating.
No, Noor's answer was correct, but Amna's answer was not correct.
Yes. Sir, one
She
thing
is in
more.
first semester MS and she is in PhD last semester. So, no, it's read those three.
Sir, one thing more, Sir Furqan, one thing more I would like to appreciate to all of you.
Thank you so much. It was really enlightening, sir.
We are near completion, Alhamdulillah, and during the course of our study, we have not seen this type of interactive sessions. This is all due to the kind supervisions of our worthy supervisors.
It's all under the supervision of Dr. Sir.
Yes.
He has inspired us a lot, and even he has changed our perspective.
Exactly.
How to conduct such kind of activities, how to participate. He has shaped us.
Yes.
And
Learner researcher.
That was the title. Learner to researcher. Today,
So it was completely a shift of paradigm for me. It was really a motivational session.
And it is really bumpy, jumping, but now we are feeling that it is joyful.
And next time we need to be careful about
Camera.
notes because they are there.
That was it.
VAS,
Yes, sir.
the good thing about VAS is that if it stings you, you don't have fever for 1 year.
But we can have
And I had a neighbor in my neighborhood. There was, a friend of mine, Aziz Garden. We used to live there. Every year he would pick one and get stuck himself on purpose for hikmat. So it's good thing. So get closer and get stuck.
They're also part of
More than three.
Three PhDs, researchers. All right.
Thank you, sir.